Okay. Have you looked at Sergeant Good's dash cam video, which is squared up on the right side of the screen?
No.
You've never seen it?
No.
Okay. Does it appear to you that these are two different perspectives of the same scene? In other words, you see the car or the SUV on the left side of the screen right here, correct?
Yes, sir.
See that same SUV right there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that appear to be two different perspectives, two different angles
Yes.
of basically the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to the individuals to the left of the SUV right here. There's a person wearing a hood with fur on it. Is that Kerry Roberts, to your memory?
I don't know.
Okay. There appears to be another person with a darker jacket standing just in front of that person with the hood and fur. You see that person?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to focus on the person in the darker jacket.
Sure.
I believe, and the only reason I'm asking you to focus at this point is because I want to try to play this just once and see if you recognize what's depicted in the video.
Sure.
What I expect you may see is this person move out of sight behind the SUV, and then in the background, there's an SUV parked in the driveway. Pay special attention to that portion of the SUV and see if you see that person in the dark jacket pass from right to left in front of that SUV as if they're going to the house. Let's go ahead and play it.
You're the team.
Pause it. Have you seen the person in the dark jacket leave the view?
Yes.
Did she appear to go behind the SUV?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and play it. Go ahead and stop track. And now I'm going to ask to draw your attention to that car with snow on it. Pay special attention to that car as the film continues to run. Go ahead. Pause. Standing in front of the car.
Yes.
Would that be toward the house?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. And also, if you wouldn't mind switching your perspective, now you're looking more at the front of the house. Continue watching the film and see if you see that same person walking toward the house. Stop. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. I saw the
Okay.
shadow. Yes.
Right. Shadow of a person
Yes.
walking toward.
No idea.
Was it a person? Did you give anybody permission to go into the house?
No, not my own.
Would you think that a witness in a homicide scene, we can go ahead and raise the lights. Thank you. Would you think that a witness?
Okay, people, since they found that DB there in the front yard, could that person been killed inside the house? This is a screw up police investigation. Because I believe they said yesterday that he was a fellow police officer that lives in that house. So I want to know what the prosecutor and the police department is covering up. Just watch it and, listen to the evidence, just like if you was on the jury.
At a homicide scene, being allowed to go into a house to make contact with other witnesses.
I didn't know it was a homicide scene, sir.
If I could finish my question. Do you think it's appropriate for a witness at a potential homicide scene, an unconscious person scene, whatever, crime scene,
Yes.
to make contact with other witnesses and begin discussing the situation unsupervised?
Can you rephrase that question, sir?
Do you think that's an appropriate thing to have happen?
I have no answer for that, sir. I don't know what you're asking.
Officer Sheriff, when you go to a crime scene,
Yes, sir.
one of the first things that you'd want to do is secure the scene and separate witnesses so that interviews could be conducted, correct?
Sure.
You wouldn't want witnesses just cavorting together and getting their story straight, right?
Correct.
You'd want to avoid that at all costs, right?
Yes. Yes.
And why is that?
So they can't collaborate their story.
Yet there was a woman, there was a person walking from the area where a body was found in the lawn of a house, walking into the house to make contact with other individuals, correct?
It appeared that way, yes, sir.
Does that seem appropriate to you?
No.
Of course not. We've talked a bit about what you did and didn't hear at the scene from my client. At any point when you were at that location, did you hear my client repeating the phrase, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
She said, I hit him? No, I didn't hear that part.
You never heard her whisper it, yell it, say it, or otherwise?
Not that I recall.
If you had heard that statement, you likely would have written it down, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You likely would have reported that to Trooper Proctor the next day, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You likely would have mentioned it in your grand jury testimony, correct?
Yes.
And you did none of those things because you did not hear that statement, correct?
I did not hear that. No.
Sir, you were at 34 Fairview for more than an hour before you cleared the scene, right?
Yes, sir.
You were at the location of the body of John O'Keefe.
Yes.
In other words, you just didn't stay in your cruiser. You walked out to where John O'Keefe was.
No, I was in my cruiser at different times. I
Must have been a bad question.
Okay.
You didn't just stay in your cruiser. At points, you got out of your cruiser, walked over, made contact with the women, and you were standing next to the body.
Yes.
And you were obviously looking around. You noticed some footprints,
Yes.
and you even noticed some lack of footprints.
That's correct.
So you were being observant at the area of the body.
Yes. Yes.
You were looking for anything that might have been out of place,
Yes.
anything of any evidentiary value, correct?
Yes.
You never saw or otherwise observed.
No.
You certainly didn't see 45 pieces of broken plastic or tail-like material, did you?
No.
You never located or otherwise observed John O'Keefe's missing shoe
No.
or any other clothing of his.
I didn't. No.
Officer Sharaf, did you ever think to look inside the house
No.
for that missing shoe?
No.
That never crossed your mind?
No.
You think that might have been a smart thing to do at the time?
Objection, Your Honor.
Rephrase the question.
Sure. Do you think that would have been appropriate protocol when dealing with a body laying on a lawn that is partially unclothed to look inside the house of the lawn?
No.
You didn't think that would have been an appropriate protocol
No.
for you or anybody else?
No.
Obviously, you did not conduct a search of that house, did you?
No.
And you're aware that to this day, no law enforcement officer ever conducted a search of that house.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything, Mr. Lally?
Your Honor.
rolling as far as if they need FD, police, whatever resources they need. And basically then type in what the call is.
Allocated to a scene, especially in the case of an emergency, which is why someone's calling 911.
Sorry about that, people. It's too early in the morning for me.
You were asked some questions about different things that you heard the defendant say, correct?
That's correct.
And you were shown specifically some grand jury testimony from April of 2022, in which you indicated during that testimony that the defendant stated, "This is my fault."
Yes.
And is that based on your memory of what she said?
Yes.
And you also testified yesterday along those same lines, correct?
Correct.
What you testified.
This is Indiana's time. And Mike Braun is Indiana's.
On that scene, January 29th, 2022.
Yes.
This call, did you know Kerry Roberts?
No.
Did you know Karen Reed?
No.
Did you know John O'Keefe?
No.
Did you know Jennifer McKay?
No.
Based on what you've seen as far as the dash camera, would you be able to differentiate between Jennifer McCabe or Kerry Roberts from that dash camera footage?
No.
Now, while you were on scene, did you see anybody from?
People, it seems like to me, they botch it. They screwed up. You know, it sounds like we got some bad cops there. It's possible that house where they found the dead body, maybe that person in that house killed him. Okay, let's get back to it.
34 Fairview Road from that address come outside?
No.
Did you see anybody from any address on that entire street for the entire 90 minutes that you were there come outside?
No.
Now, you were asked some questions about some different addresses on Fairview, whether they be 32 or 35. Do you know where either 32 or 35 is located in relation to 34?
It will be next to each other in sequential order.
Nothing further.
Okay.
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. You're all set, officer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Lally, who is your next witness?
You're on the call with the call officer, Stephen Mullaney, to the stand.
Okay.
Wait.
My question, as you heard yesterday, that maybe the dog bit that DB. Why did the family get rid of the dog? You know, there was some evidence that came up missing. Your people out there is watching it. You're the jury too. Listen to the facts. I done made my mind up. It was a botch investigation. I say not guilty, but I could change my mind at the end of the trial.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the evidence you give to the court and jury in the case now and hearing should be truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can stand or sit, sir, whatever is more comfortable. Just make sure you speak into the microphone, please. Okay, whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name?
Stephen Mullaney, Mullaney.
And how are you employed, sir?
I am employed by the Canton Police Department as a patrolman
And how long have you been a patrolman for the Canton Police?
since July 2020 and a full-time officer since August 2021.
And if I could call your attention to the evening of January 28th, 2022 into the morning of January 29th, 2022. Were you working on that occasion?
Yes, I was working the 11:45 p.m. to 7:45 a.m. patrol shift.
And were you dispatched to a call shortly after 6 a.m. on the 29th?
Yes, I was.
And where were you dispatched to and what was that in regards?
34 Fairview Road for a unresponsive party.
Now, if I could turn back just for a second, as far as when you're assigned as far as a patrolman with the Canton Police, are there different sort of geographic sectors within the town to which you're assigned?
Yep, I was assigned to the east sector.
And it's Fairview Road within that east sector?
It's the west sector.
So you were assigned to the east sector, but dispatched to a call in the west sector. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
What?
Yes, east. The east sector backs up the west sector.
Prior to this, on the 28th, going in.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Lally.
Oh, thank you. So on the 28th, going into the 29th, what, if any, awareness did you have as far as the weather forecast or sort of what was predicted as coming?
I believe around midnight it began to snow.
And that's why you're on shift, is that correct?
Yes.
You did. When you're on shift and you're on patrol, particularly when there's a weather situation as that you're
Didn't get stuck.
in the snowstorm, was it? As you were so you were at the station when you were
Yes.
and where is, well, about how far away is Fairview Road from where you were at the station? Describe to the jury sort of the route that you took going from the station to Fairview Road that
Yep.
morning.
I took a right onto Washington Street from the station, and then I took a right onto Dedham Street from Washington Street, a left onto Cedar Crest from Dedham, and then a left onto Fairview Road from Cedar Crest.
And so Fairview Road runs sort of between two other more major roads in Canton, fair to say?
Yes.
And you mentioned Cedar Crest, is that correct?
Yes.
And Cedar Crest is off of Dedham.
Correct.
And so what is the other sort of major road on the other sort
I don't know what's going on, people.
Now, as far as when you are coming to the scene, do you recall whether or not you had to activate sort of your lights?
Sorry
sirens,
about that.
or anything like that?
Uh,
Oh, sirens.
I do not recall whether or not I used sirens.
And if you know, about how much time elapsed between the time that you received the call and the time that you arrived on Fairview?
3 minutes approximately.
And when you arrive there, what, if anything, is sort of the first thing that you see?
I saw Officer Saraf towards like the front lawn, kind of surrounding the victim. There's on arrival right about the same time. I think everyone was kind of like in the vicinity around the hit the curb to the street.
I'll answer a question that you StreamYard. How come it keeps cutting out or disconnected? Yeah, I don't understand it.
I saw people around him, but I had to get closer before I saw the victim on the ground.
And so the other people that you saw around him, were they kneeling down, standing up, or something else?
I believe Officer Saraf was still standing up. I don't recall anyone else.
And so fair to say you saw our Officer Saraf standing up near Mr. O'Keefe before you actually saw Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
Now, this particular area where you saw Officer Saraf standing up and Mr. O'Keefe, Officer O'Keefe on the ground, what, if any, sort of additional ambient lighting did you observe in that area? Was there any street lights or anything like that around there?
Not that I recall.
Now, in addition to Officer Saraf, at some point did you encounter some other individuals or civilian people on scene?
Yep. Miss Jen McCabe.
And in addition to Ms. McCabe, were there any other female parties there as well?
Yeah. Carrie Roberts.
And in addition to Ms. Roberts, was there any other female parties there?
Yes. Miss Reed.
And just to be clear, do you see Ms. Reed in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Okay. And could you identify as to where she's seated or an article of clothing she's wearing?
Black dress.
That's a record of reflect identification.
Yes.
Now, prior to this call, did you have any prior sort of familiarity with Karen Reed?
No.
With, John O'Keefe?
No.
With Jennifer McCabe?
No.
Carrie Roberts?
No.
And when you arrive and you make those sort of initial observations, where is it that you go? What, if anything, do you do?
The fire department began their life-saving measures, and at one point we were able to get him onto the stretcher or onto a backboard, I believe it's called, and then onto a stretcher.
And what, if any, involvement did you have with that?
I assisted the fire department in placing him on the backboard and then helping get him onto the stretcher.
Now, as far as you mentioned that the where you came and located Mr. O'Keefe, do you recall sort of what position his body was in when you first observed him?
He was lying
Sorry,
face
I had to go get me a
face up,
banana.
was back on the ground.
And do you recall where he was in relation to the roadway, if you could tell?
Yeah, he was on the front lawn. So I didn't
Come
know
on,
exactly where the
Get
curb was.
down
It's
off
open,
of the table.
approximately 10 feet
Get out.
from the curb.
Okay.
And so you mentioned that you
Leaving
couldn't
no
tell
choice.
exactly where the curb was. Why is that?
There was snow on the ground.
You all don't get up here on the
There,
table.
is that correct?
Yes.
But you approximate he was about 10
I
feet.
love you all, but you got the mind.
Yeah.
And observed that time when you first arrived about how much snow had accumulated on the ground.
I'd say at that point, approximately 6 inches.
See, you're
And
on
what
the
if any
table
snow
again. Now
was
get off.
on any part of Mr. O'Keefe's body when you first saw him?
There was really no snow, but you could tell that he had been in the conditions. It was almost as if it was kind of like frozen on kind of to his face.
And did you make any observations, or what, if any, observations did you make beyond his face as far as sort of the rest of his body?
I don't recall really.
On any other part of his body?
I do not.
Now, as far as Mr. O'Keefe was concerned, what, if any, observations did you make as far as any injuries to Mr. O'Keefe at that initial time?
I did not recall any injuries.
So nothing stood out to you, is that correct?
No, correct.
And you assist the fire department getting him onto a backboard, correct?
Yes,
And where did Mr. O'Keefe go from there?
to the ambulance.
And did you go to the ambulance as well? So fire
No.
department takes over care of Mr. O'Keefe at that point.
Yes.
So after Mr. O'Keefe is lifted up.
I will tell you one more
when he's
time.
lifted up, what, if anything, did you observe as far as the ground?
Best thing for you all to do is lay down.
Where he was.
I didn't recall anything.
You all been
Observe
fed.
anything? No,
Up to you.
no,
You recall even looking sort of in that area?
no. I think he was in front of me, so I wouldn't have seen what was under him.
And so after Mr. O'Keefe is taken by members of the fire department over to the ambulance, what is it that you did?
Officer Sarif, at that point, we were trying to
Candy.
identify the victim, so I spoke to Miss McCabe.
And without
Best thing
sort
for
of
you
entering
all
Ms.
to
McCabe,
do,
about how
lay
long
down.
period of time did you talk to Ms. McCabe gathering information?
Approximately 2 minutes.
And who, if anyone else, did you speak with attempting to gather information regarding Mr. O'Keefe?
Miss McCabe is the only one I recall speaking to.
Now, as far as the defendant, Ms. Reed, what, if anything, do you recall her sort of doing as you're on scene and as you're going about what you're trying to do?
Hey, this
She was screaming, "Is that my boyfriend? Is he dead?"
When you say screaming in a fairly loud voice, correct?
Very, very loud. Yes.
And as far as that sort of phraseology, as far as is he dead, how many times was that something she said? Once, more than once, or something?
Repeated many times.
And with the same sort of volume that she had said it with, as you described the first time?
Yes.
And as far as, if you know, about how long was the ambulance on scene before it left to go to the hospital?
10 minutes, approximately.
Do you know what hospital it went to?
Good Samaritan.
And the three women that you're talking about being the defendant, Ms. McCabe, Ms. Roberts, where did they go?
I believe they left the scene.
So did you have any, or what if any conversation did you have with any of them following that?
None.
Now, as far as Ms. Reed, the defendant, is concerned, what if anything else did you observe as far as her saying or her demeanor or anything like that?
Just the screams and she was very distraught.
Now, at some point, did Ms. Reed sort of stay in one place, or where did Ms. Reed go sort of around the cruisers and the ambulance and all of that?
I believe she went to one of the vehicles. I don't know if it was a cruiser or one of the cars. Just stay warm.
And the other two women that were with her, as far as Ms. McCabe, Ms. Roberts, were they in the same general vicinity as the defendant, or were they separated, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Now, at some point after they had left the scene, what, if anything, were you advised by your dispatch in regard to Ms. Reed?
We were dispatched that, or Can't Control had advised us that she's making suicidal statements.
And so based on that, what, if anything, did you or the other officers that you were on scene with do at that point?
I don't recall exactly who, but someone had called Ms. Roberts to have Ms. Reed come back to the scene, and we section 12 there.
And so about how much time elapsed between the time that you learned that from dispatch and the time that Ms. Reed arrives back to Roberts?
5 minutes, approximately.
Now, you mentioned that there may have been other officers on scene, correct?
Yes.
So in addition, while you were there,
Time and Lieutenant Gallagher.
and when was that in relation to when yourself and Officer Sarah arrived on scene?
Sergeant Good was there shortly after, and then Sergeant Link shortly after him, and then Lieutenant Gallagher after that.
And in total, as far as sort of the earliest to the longest, about how long was it until Lieutenant Gallagher arrived on scene?
I would say less than 45 minutes.
And in total, how long was it that you were on scene that morning?
90 minutes to 2 hours.
And during the course of time that you were on scene, at some point, did the sun come up?
Yes.
And during the time that you were on scene, as far as the conditions, and let me ask just a little bit more about that. So you indicated something about snow being on the ground and not being able to see the curb, correct?
Yes.
What, if any, sort of other things in addition to that, from a weather perspective? What was the temperature out at that time?
It was very cold. It's cold.
Could you, or do you have any estimate as far as to how cold?
25, and it was windy.
And when you say windy, could you expound upon that as far as like what kind of wind? Are we talking constant wind, gusts, or something?
I would say gust to constant.
And fairly strong winds, light winds, what kind of?
Not necessarily strong, light winds, but it was definitely windy.
And during that sort of total time, about 90 minutes or so that you were on scene, was the weather consistent throughout that entire period that you were on scene?
That I recall, yes.
Now, in the area where you first observed Mr. O'Keefe's body on the lawn, after his body was removed by the fire department, what, if anything, did you observe sort of in that general area?
Nothing.
Now, again, you said that Ms. Reed was brought back to the scene.
Transported to Good Samaritan.
Different ambulance than had taken Mr. O'Keefe.
Correct. Different ambulance. Yep.
Get down. Wildcat, please.
Now, as far as Mr. O'Keefe was concerned, you assisted getting him onto the backboard, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you also assist getting him onto the stretcher?
Yes.
And beyond sort of the visual observations that you made, did you have occasion to, in that process, have any sort of tactile observations? Did you come into contact with Mr. O'Keefe's body at any point?
No.
Beyond what you've already testified to, did you make any other observations at any point of Mr. O'Keefe, his body, or any injuries?
No, not that I recall.
Sir, I'm gonna direct your attention up to the screen over here. Ms. Gilman, if you could just put up Exhibit 25 and just sort of pause it as soon as it comes up. So, Officer Mulaney, I'm directing your attention to the screen, what's been marked as Exhibit 25. Generally speaking, what's depicted up on the screen here, is that consistent with what you recall as far as the conditions when you were responding to Fairview Road that morning?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could ask for exhibit number 3. Yes. I'm sorry. Exhibit number 9.
Don't an idiot know what he's doing?
And Officer Mulaney, directing your attention to what's up on the screen, it's been previously marked as exhibit number 9. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
Okay. What do you recognize it to be?
That's 34 Fairview.
Is that how it's depicted in that photograph? Is that a relatively fair and accurate portrayal of what you observed of the residents on the morning of January 29, 2022?
Yes.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have exhibit number 18. And again, Officer Mulaney, what's up on the screen? Do you recognize what's depicted in exhibit 8?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that?
That's 34 Fairview.
That's sort of a different view, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, with regard to the residents, if I'm standing on the street and I'm facing the residents as in the previous photograph, the area of the lawn where you first observed Mr. O'Keefe laying on his back with his face up, would that be to the left of the residence, the right of the residence, or dead center, or something else?
Left.
And what, if anything, did you observe sort of in that general area as far as any sort of landmarks or things that were in that area?
A fire hydrant and a flagpole.
And may I approach the witness room?
Yes.
So, sir, even if I'm trying to find anybody, this is a.
So, officer, if I could ask you, using that laser pointer directing, if you could direct the jury's attention to where in that photograph, if anywhere, you recall Mr. O'Keefe's body being located when you first.
Right in this area.
Thanks. If I may have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
And officer, you can. Thank you, sir.
I love you.
I have no further questions to this witness, Your Honor.
Right. Cross examination.
Thank
Get
you, Your Honor.
off to the table, Psalms. Come on, you're number 1. Get off the table. Okay.
Good morning, officer.
Morning.
Officer Mulaney, you and I
Get
have
off the
never met
table.
before, correct?
Correct.
We've never spoken
Get
about
off
this
the
case.
table. Good boy.
Is it fair to say that when you were dispatched to 34 Fairview Road on January 29th of 2022, you were a part-time officer at that point?
No, I was full time.
When did you start at the Canton Police Department?
July 2020.
Did you start as a part-time officer?
I did.
Oh, I see. I misunderstood your testimony. You actually became full-time in August of 2021.
Correct, sir. Yes.
All right. So you had been full-time at that point for about 6 months when you received this call, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's fair to say that you were the junior officer on scene.
Yes, it is.
You would testify that you approached Fairview from the
Okay, my question. Has this officer been to the police academy at that time? That's a question I would like to know.
34 Fairview Road is much closer to the Cedar Crest side than it is to the Chapman side, correct? And when you take a left on Cedar Crest to enter Fairview Road, 34 Fairview is the second house on the right. Does that make sense?
From Cedar Crest, yes.
Yes. And you were quickly surmising that whatever action was taking place there was taking place on the front lawn of 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes, sir.
And one of the first things that you saw was there appeared to be a woman giving CPR to somebody on the ground.
Yeah, yes.
You didn't know who that woman was at the time, correct?
No, sir.
But you later learned her identity.
Yes, I don't recall which female it was that was giving CPR though.
Okay. So you don't recall that it was Karen Reed who was giving CPR to John O'Keefe?
I don't know who it was.
At some point in time, you came in contact with Karen Reed, correct, while you were on scene?
Not direct contact, but I was on scene when she was there.
I mean, you were there until about 8 a.m., correct?
Yes.
And you were dispatched shortly after 6 a.m.,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, sir.
You were there for approximately 2 hours, correct?
Yes.
You were there when Karen Reed was there when you showed up, correct?
Yes.
She left and she came back to the scene, correct?
Yes.
And you were there when she came back, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you actually at some points were closer to her than you are to me right now, correct?
Yeah.
How close did you get to her?
10 feet.
All right. With the court's permission, I'd like to walk toward you and have you stop me when I'm at the point when you were at your closest to Karen Reed. What can I do that, Your Honor?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Right there.
Okay. And when you were this close to her, and you're estimating this to be about 10 feet, correct?
Sure.
When you were this close to her, was there anything blocking your view of her face?
Not that I recall.
All right. You noticed, obviously, that she had blood on her face, correct?
I did not notice that. No,
You didn't notice that she had blood in her hair.
I did not notice that.
You did notice that she was absolutely hysterical.
Yes.
She was completely distraught.
Yes.
She appeared to be in shock.
Yes.
And there was a contrast between that demeanor that you observed with regard to Karen Reed and the demeanor of one of the other women on scene, Jennifer McCabe. Was there not?
Can you kind of explain further?
Sure. Karen Reed was screaming, correct?
Yes.
She was yelling, correct?
Yes.
She was hysterical and distraught, correct?
Yes.
Jennifer McCabe was not.
Correct.
And you actually had more contact, direct contact with Jennifer McCabe that morning, correct?
Yes.
And you spoke to Jennifer McCabe for a good 2 minutes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Face to face.
Yes, sir.
You were closer to Jennifer McCabe than you ever got to Karen Reed, correct?
Yes.
You were able to observe her demeanor.
Yes.
You were able to hear her tone of voice.
Yes.
You were able to hear how loudly she was speaking, correct?
Yes.
You were able to hear how quickly she was speaking.
Yes.
During those 2 minutes that you were face to face closer to Jennifer McCabe, she was not screaming, correct?
Correct.
She was not yelling.
Correct.
She was not hysterical.
Correct.
She was not distraught.
Yes.
She was calm.
Correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll allow it, but let's move on.
Jennifer McCabe didn't have any blood on her face, correct?
No.
And you didn't see any blood in Jennifer McCabe's hair, correct?
No.
Now, with regard to what you heard Karen Reed scream that morning, I just want to make sure I get your testimony correct. I believe on direct examination, you stated that she kept repeating two phrases, one being, "Is he dead?" and the second being, "That's my boyfriend," correct?
Yes.
And how many times do you think that she repeated those two phrases?
It's quite a bit, more than 10.
Okay, like almost too many times to count, really.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And each time she said, "Is he dead?" what was her tone of voice?
She screaming very loudly.
Each time she said, "Is that my boyfriend?" what was her tone of voice?
Same.
And you got there not long after Officer Saraf, correct?
Correct.
In any of the, during the time, let me strike that. During the time that you were on scene and you heard Karen Reed screaming and yelling, heard her say,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
and how much time did you spend around that distance from where John O'Keefe's body had been?
I don't recall.
You were there for 2 hours, correct?
Yes.
So is it fair to say that you were sort of in and around that area multiple times during that 2 hours?
Yes.
Did you ever see anybody put up any crime scene tape at all?
I don't recall that.
You recall that area, correct?
Yes.
And while you were near that area, you were certainly paying attention to it, correct?
Yes.
Did you see officers use any equipment to clear some of the snow in that area?
Yes, sir.
What did you see?
There was a leaf blower.
Where did that leaf blower come from?
I don't know.
Who had the leaf blower?
I believe it was Lieutenant Gallagher.
When did Lieutenant Gallagher arrive on scene?
45 minutes after I did, approximately. I don't recall the exact time.
And how big was that leaf blower?
Not too big. It was
Was it handheld or was it something that you push?
handheld.
And who used the leaf blower?
Lieutenant Gallagher.
At what area or on what area did he use that leaf blower?
The front lawn.
And would that have been around the area where John O'Keefe's body had been?
Yes.
And you were watching him as he did that, correct?
Yes.
Were in that area sort of watching what was going on or participating in the search for what was going on?
I don't necessarily recall where everybody was, but I believe it would be Sergeant Link and Sergeant Good.
And you understood that these brother officers of yours were looking for evidence, right?
Yes.
They were looking for clues about potentially what had happened to John O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
And you were paying attention too as they were doing their work, correct?
Yes.
You were looking for anything that might have been out of place, correct?
Yes.
If there was something large there that didn't appear to, be appropriate for a front lawn, you would have made note of that, correct?
Yes.
And if there was something small there, you would have still made note of that if it didn't appear to belong on a front lawn, correct?
Yes.
At any point in time, either before or after the leaf blower was taken out by Lieutenant Gallagher, did you see 45 pieces of bright red, black, and clear plastic pieces scattered all over the scene?
I did not.
Did you find even or see even one piece of broken plastic?
I did not.
Now, when you came to the scene, John O'Keefe was still lying on the ground, correct?
Yes.
Did you see whether or not there were any blankets on scene?
No.
Did you know that one of the women on scene had a sister who lived in that very house?
I did not.
When you were speaking with Jennifer McCabe, at any point, did you learn whether she had actually gone into that house at all.
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you see Jennifer McCabe approach that house at any point when you were on scene?
No.
Were you alerted at any point by anyone that she went into that house while you were on scene?
No.
Did you ever see Jennifer McCabe come out of that house with blankets or anything else that might comfort John O'Keefe?
No.
What was your state of mind regarding whether there were any first responders in that house?
Wasn't aware of that.
Nobody told you.
No.
You had testified that at one point you saw Karen Reed being escorted into a motor vehicle,
Yes.
and that was one of the women on scene, her motor vehicle.
Area.
But you'll agree with me, at no point in time did you see Karen Reed and Jennifer McCabe in a vehicle together.
Not that I recall. No.
And at no point in time did you ever hear Karen Reed ask Jennifer anything?
No.
I may have a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you, officer.
Officer Mulaney. You've been to other scenes in which there is a deceased person on scene, family members or friends around?
Yes.
And of those other scenes, does everybody who's a friend or a family member of the person who is injured or deceased, do they all react the same?
No.
Is every single one of them screaming and yelling different things?
No.
And there are actually 3 women on scene that morning, correct?
Yes.
Okay. It was Jennifer McCabe, it was the defendant, Miss Reed, and there was Kerry Roberts, correct?
Correct.
And did you see any blood on Miss Roberts's face or hair?
No.
Okay. Was she screaming and yelling things and moving around the scene?
No.
Now, as far as the residents in 34 Fairview Road, did you see anybody go in or come out of that residence during the time that you were on scene?
No.
And as far as any of the other residences on the entire rest of the street, did you see any of the neighbors or anybody else come outside at any point in time?
I did not.
I have nothing further.
Just one question, if I might.
Okay.
Recross.
Sure.
And I don't mean to be a wise guy, sir, but did any of the other neighbors on the entire street have the body of a dead police officer on their front lawn?
Objection,
No.
Your Honor.
All right. So that's sustained. All right. You are all set, sir.
Thank you.
All right, folks, it's 11 o'clock. We'll take our morning recess, 15 minutes.
All right, please. Close your notebooks. Make sure.
Court's back in session. You may be seated.
Your next witness, please.
Fighter paramedic to the town.
I believe 5 years and coming up on 6.
And prior to working in that capacity with the town of Canton, what if being a paramedic?
To back
Sorry about that. Nobody let me know. I have audio, people. You all getting audio because I'm not getting anything on my cell phone. You all getting audio because I'm not getting anything on my. Okay. Are you all hearing this on StreamYard? Are you all hearing this on StreamYard? Are you all hearing this on StreamYard? Down right now. Get off the table. That's a no-no. No. I said no. And Lexi, I wasn't quick enough for that. Supposed to give the judge one too. Don't see it. You don't see a laser anywhere. Okay, now I see it. Why not? Lord, that's important. I want to let you people know when they break for lunch, I'm going to disconnect from this because I got some things I have to do outside. I got to walk the mailbox and stuff like that. But if you want to continue watching this, go to Court TV on YouTube channel. You know, I'm getting a little tired, but there's things I got to do outside. You know, I hope you understand. But I want to thank you all. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, share it with your friends. And I'm asking for you all's help on subscribers. I don't make nothing from YouTube. That's not my income. And I'm asking you old time YouTubers that been on here a long time. Remember when you first started, you know, you had to have the right content for your YouTube channel to grow. Sidebar's over. Sorry about that, people. I'm not cooking up. I got a question. If he was dressed up like that for the cold weather, I might be dumb, but cold weather like that, wouldn't you have some gloves? What happened to his gloves? I believe there's police officers there too. Somebody screwed up. Uh-oh. You're supposed to do a report if I'm right. Why is that? I say so. No. Okay, people, take a break here. Question. If he had scratches on his face, wherever it was, wouldn't the police check Karen Reed to see if she had any DNA underneath her fingernails? I've never heard nothing about this yet. Those questions, who scratched his face? And heard about a dog. What happened to the dog that they talked about, I think, yesterday? Or did I dream it? Because the dog would have evidence on the dog. It would have blood on the dog. It's a blotch police investigation. They screwed up. I have seen other cases like that where they found the person not guilty. The cops screwed this up. Like I say, it's only my opinion, but I do watch court TV. You know, the this coroner, this lady, I forget her name, and being at accident sites in my 70 plus years, I've seen stuff that'll make you sick. And these police officers screwed up big time. Some of you been on the jury, some of you haven't been on the jury. Some of you are lawyers, paralegals, police officers. I like to have your all comments because you all deal with it every day of the week in your field. And in countries, you police officers in your country, they deal with stuff like that. But did they check Karen Reed's hands for DNA? If they saw scratches, wouldn't the cops check her hands for DNA since they saw the scratches? I would think they would. Let's get back. That's just a couple of questions I want you all to think about when you're watching the trial of Karen Reed.
12:42 p.m. Eastern. Like that's 9 years. It's not 10 years. Yeah, love you. Don't ask me what this means, people. So I want to thank you all. Hope you enjoyed it. They said they'd be back Thursday. So Thursday would be the 2nd. That's okay. Because Friday, I got things to do. Friday's the 1st. I got to look and see what the calendar is. Let's see, if the 1st, let's see. 1st is tomorrow, the 2nd is Thursday, Friday's the 3rd. 3rd is a payday for me. That means I got to go out, take care of business. Um, so I'm going to let you all go. Will I be on here tonight? Don't know. Because you're going to have the DUI guy. You're going to have probably Megan Fox, the expert, and a bunch of other people. Subscribe to their channels. I wish you people that I could get some of your subscribers. I wish you all could help me out. But that's okay. I'm nobody important here. So I want to thank you all that who subscribed. Well, nobody's subscribed, so I want to thank you all very much. And so I hope you all enjoyed it. I am popular loner. I know a lot of people, and a lot of people knows me, but my circle is small, and I'm usually by myself. That's a good quote for the day, people. You know, that is very good quote. So I want to thank you all very much. You know, I wish I had more subscribers, but I'm hoping this new deal, thanks to TB, you know, he said that stands for the boss. Well, he's the boss as long as his better half ain't there, because she's the boss. See, I agree with you women. You women's the boss. And ladies, it's not your fault that you're getting abused. I want to thank you all that comes into my chat and talk about it. That helps out talking about it. It's 1:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April the 30th of 2024. So God bless you all. You have a great Tuesday morning. I have a look and see what day it was. Boy, see what happens when you get old. So I want to thank you all. Let me do my sign out music. That is one of, you know, there. So I want to thank you all. God bless you all. Thank you all so much.